There are some viral TikTok videos that are going around that are exposing a reading problem in high school students. And there are all kinds of people that are responding and making responses to these videos. And I just wanted to put in my 2 cents worth about it. So here's some things that I think about it. Number one, I've heard several people saying that those students who can't read are lazy and stupid and that they need to work harder and everything. And I just strongly disagree with that. I do not think that they are lazy or stupid. I think that they may have dyslexia, or they may have dyslexia. In other words, they may not have been taught to read well. And there's multiple reasons for this. We don't need to go around playing the blame game, but maybe when they were young and they should have been learning to be good readers, maybe their family moved a lot. Maybe their parents were getting divorced, and with that stress on them, they couldn't focus in school. Maybe the teacher was not trained and does not know how to teach someone who doesn't pick up on reading easily. And we can't really blame the teacher for that because they don't know what they don't know. And also, let's take a look at the sentence that those students are reading. This is one of them. There's several sentences, but this is the one that I've seen, the main one that I've seen. It says, she wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary but somewhat gauche. I just feel like this sentence is very awkward. It's strange because you don't wear a silhouette of clothes. I mean, that's just weird grammar. And also, the word gauche, I'm a reading teacher and I think I have a pretty large vocabulary, but I didn't know that word. I had to look it up. So I just feel like when all these people are like, they're such terrible readers, they can't even read this sentence. I'm like, that's a weird sentence. I'm not really that surprised that they're stumbling on it. And anyway, but they should be able to read, they're in high school. They should be able to read silhouette and extraordinary and stuff like that. But even silhouette, that's a difficult word. And if they've been taught to sound out a word, one of the guys sounds it out and he pronounces the H, and he has no idea what he's saying. And but people are making fun of him for saying it like that. Why? That's what they are taught. They're taught to sound it out, and he's pronouncing the H and he's trying to sound it out. But it's a difficult sentence. So some of the students didn't really do too bad, but those students, all of those students are my ideal student. I love to work with students like that who sort of know how to read, and they may think they know how to read well, but they stumble on those longer words, and they really need help growing their vocabulary and knowing how to attack a longer word like that. I love working with that type of a student. Anyway, also, number 2 point is that student who put those TikTok videos on the internet, evidently he was in trouble for that. And I've heard a lot of people making comments that, oh, that's terrible that he's in trouble, and why is he in trouble? The school should be, they're just upset because he exposed their issue with reading, their literacy problems in the school. But no, I think they knew about the literacy problems. I'm sure that they did. And I'm sure that they inherited those kids came to that school with the problem already. And that student, I think he should be in trouble for sure. He is embarrassing other students and exposing one of their worst weaknesses to the whole world on TikTok. And I think that's like bullying. I think that the student is just not being nice. I really think that in today's day and age, probably you should have permission if you want to put somebody's picture or a video of somebody on the internet, you should have their permission. And you should not be just taking it without their permission and then putting it on the internet for the whole world to see, especially when you're exposing their weaknesses like this. I just think that he's not being nice and he should be in trouble. And then third, there's a lot of criticism of this about the school. They have a literacy crisis at that school, but it's implied that they want to cover it up because they're mad, and that's why they're mad that the student put the TikTok on the video on the internet. But instead, they should not worry about that student. They should fix their literacy problem. And I just wanted to say that I'm sure they already know about their literacy problem. I'm sure that they are concerned about it, and I'm sure that they probably are trying to do something about it, but I'm sure they probably don't know exactly what to do. I am sure that they have lots of teachers there that are great teachers, and their teachers are teaching things like they're trained to teach history or science or math or literature. They're trained how to teach those things, but they don't know how to teach a struggling reader. They're not trained in that. And they really don't know how to do that. And everyone's just participating in this blame game where, like the parents are to blame because they haven't been reading to their student, to their kid ever since they were young. And the elementary school teachers are to blame because they didn't teach the kids to read. The pandemic, or the students themselves who can't read, they are to blame. Everybody's always blaming other people. And I think that we just need to get over that. And by the time that your child is in middle or high school, they are most likely not going to have a teacher that knows how to teach a struggling reader. And so even if by the time that they're that age, they're expected to know how to read. And your child might have accommodations, they might have an IEP goals, and they might be, taken out of class to work on literacy, whatever they're working on in literacy. But it is highly unlikely that anyone in the middle or high school knows what to do to help a struggling reader become a strong reader. And we can't really blame the teachers because they may not have been taught how to teach that, and especially in high school. In high school, they assume that the kids will arrive knowing how to read, and they aren't taught how to teach reading. And also, you don't know what you don't know until you find out. Now, like for instance, with me, I used to teach kindergarten, and I taught most of the kindergarten kids to read. They were beginner readers by the time they left my kindergarten class. And so I thought that I knew how to teach reading, and I really enjoyed teaching reading. But then I quit to stay home with my own kids, and my own kids struggled with reading, especially my first one. And so it was then that I realized I don't know what to do. And that's when I, started studying dyslexia. I realized that even though I had a minor in special ed, I had no training. I didn't know anything about dyslexia or how to teach a kid with dyslexia. And so I have learned, now that I am an academic language therapist, I have learned that a lot of people who go into dyslexia specialty, they are either Orton Gillingham trained or they're certified academic language therapists, people like that. A lot of them are parents of kids who struggle with reading because they realize, wait, the teacher may be saying, oh, you need to work more with your kid. You need to help them learn the alphabet. You need to read to them. And they realize, I am doing that stuff. I've done that stuff since they were born. And I have worked so hard, and this shouldn't be this hard. Something is wrong here. So, I don't know if it hadn't have been my own kid, if I would have realized what I didn't know, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, before it was my own kid, I always thought, well, the kids that struggled, I thought, well, their parents haven't worked with them. Their parents didn't read with them. They didn't help them learn the alphabet. And after having my own kids struggle, I realized I did work with them. I did read with them. I did all that stuff. And we can't blame someone else, but there is a problem that I need to learn how to help them. So Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, let's stop the blame game. It is what it is. And there's a multiple of causes, and many students need some extra help with reading. And many students are stumped by these longer words, and they need to increase their vocabulary, and they need a more real world experience and less screen time. And these are just the reality. And let's not look for someone to blame, but instead, if you know someone who is in this situation, you need to get them help. And Defeating Dyslexia with Darcy is my online reading tutoring business, and we exist just for this purpose. Online reading tutoring may be just the help that your student needs. And so instead of blaming someone or waiting for someone else to fix the problem, that may be something that you can do, is to reach out. And if you go to defeatingdyslexiawithdarcy.com, you can find a button there to sign up for a free consultation, and we can talk about getting your child some help. So, okay, anyway, that's my 2 cents worth about the high school students that are struggling. I love to work with those students, and and I just feel like I don't think they're going to get the help in the school, and so we need to reach outside of the school to get help. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed that, please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.